This is a Toyota Camry, and the problem is the driver's side window is slow going up. See that? The reason this window is getting slow is it has a safety mechanism in it. When there's too much resistance, like somebody's arm is in there, it stops. But as it gets older, other things cause the resistance, and so it's stopping prematurely. Whether the motor inside is dirty or so forth, or the other parts are getting worn and hard to move. And so what the conclusion is that for the most part we need a new motor. You can hear it's sounding weak, it's not pushing the window up, and even the safety mechanism itself may be out of calibration. And so I'm anticipating a new motor. I've already bought the new motor. There's no point in trying to buy a used motor to fix this problem. It's likely going to have the same issues. So you can buy either the window regulator with the motor, the window regulator without the motor, or the motor without the window regulator. And in this case, since the window does go up and down, this has a weak sounding motor, I'm only replacing the motor. It's $32. And as soon as we get the whole thing out, I'll show you how to do that. The first step is to take the door panel off, and it's pretty easy. The basic steps are screw, 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 2 screws here, a push tab over here, this screw, and a plastic cover here. The screw releases the plastic cover. The plastic cover is a little tricky because it catches here and here as well, and I'll show you how to get that out without breaking it. First, the screw. Now, see, it's still locked in. There are 2 pins, one on the top, one on the bottom, and then there's a hook behind. So I'm going to use this tack puller to gently lift up. There, I release the top pin. Now the bottom pin. Now the hook in the back. There's the hook in the back. Here's where the 2 pins catch. So when I was just lifting up these plastic tabs with the tack puller. This screw is covered by a plastic piece. These other screws, you can't see them, but they're easily accessible. This is the second screw on the bottom. The armrest screw is behind this plastic plug. When this goes back on, it is directional. There's that protrusion there fits in a little slot in this hole. You just line it up. Okay, the plug for this other one is missing, so just unscrew it. There's a big screw back there supporting the handle. And on the other side of the handle, there's another big screw. Somebody must have worked on this door before because there's no screw on this other side. Okay, the last item is over here. This needs to come out too, and the way you release it is Just push it in like that. It clicks, and it pulls right out. And before you put it back in place, slide it back out, and then once it's in place, that's how it locks. Okay, the only thing holding the door in now are some plastic fasteners in the back. That release by just pulling on them. Okay, you can see the plastic fasteners here. Once I disconnect the window switch, the master switch, we'll be able to see better. To release the connection on the master switch, I had to twist the panel around and use the screwdriver to push the button that releases so I could get it out. It was just an awkward spot to reach myself. Here's a better example of those fasteners that also help hold the door panel to the door. And if they're no good, they just slide out and they're easily replaceable. These are readily available at either the junkyard or you can buy them new at the dealership. They just slide into place. A lot of times they're missing or broken. And it's good if you put them all in operational condition so that the door panel's not loose or rattling. This is the release button, which I couldn't reach it, so I used a screwdriver, push that down and pull this out of the master switch. Now, just need to pull back this plastic covering, take off this metal plate, and the window mechanism will be readily accessible. The next step is to disconnect the window. There are two bolts. You can see this one, and the other one is back in here. So what I need to do is reconnect the master switch and lower the window down enough to get access to that other bolt through this hole, and this bolt will be accessible right here. So for just a moment I'm going to plug this back in and move the window down. To make this easier for me, I should have moved the window into the perfect place before I disconnected this, but I can take this switch out and it'll make it easier. There's a clip in the back and a hook in the front, so this is the spring-loaded clip that I just released. So now we can put this in the plug and operate the window. Just lowering this enough so I can see that bolt. Don't put your fingers in there when you're moving the window. It's like mechanical scissors. Okay, there's the bolt right there. Now the other side. Now the window should slide right out. Just gonna lift it out and then I'll tilt it to get it out of the track. This is where I unbolted it. Put it someplace safe for the time being. This is the electrical connection for the window. If you wanted to test this window, you could put electricity on those two contact points there and test the motor and the operation. We already know that it's weak, so that was a test in itself. But let's say, for instance, the window didn't work at all. You know, it could be a switch, could be a relay, could be wiring problem, could be the motor. One way to eliminate all this stuff is just to do what we did already and then test the window before you take it out by putting electricity to these two connections. So if you have a little bit different problem, you can just connect a positive and a negative wire to those two connections, you know, reverse them for up, the other way for down, and test it. The regulator and motor come out as a unit. It's these bolts that release it. Last bolt. There's a hook here that kind of holds it in place for alignment purposes. Just lift it up a little bit to get the hook out. Wiggle it out the hole. There it is. As we discussed before, putting a used one in is not that good of an idea. You can see somebody did that already. They took, this came out of a 99 Camry, and this was bought at a junkyard. There's the junkyard paint right on it, and it just went bad again. So let's put a new motor in this one. Here's the brand new motor, which was only $32. Looks like it's designed to fit multiple years or versions of this car. But, you know, why take a used motor out of another car that's likely to go bad when you can get a brand new motor for $32 and probably get a lot more life out of it? It's a torque bit. Wow. Okay, careful. Spring loaded. So this is very smooth operating. Doesn't need to be lubricated again. Looks like somebody's recently lubricated it. Works very nicely. I'm just going to put the other motor on. Doesn't matter where it goes on the gear. So just get some teeth exposed and see the three holes line up with these three holes. Just watch your fingers in case this thing flies apart again. You don't want to get any scissor action from this thing. Okay, I'm just tightening the last bolt here. Checking these to make sure they're nice and snug. Okay. If you need that part number, here it is. This one looks like a perfect match for the one we took off, so let's use this one. Goes this right here. Okay, it's ready to reinstall. Here's that hook that lines up, I guess it's this one. It lines up here, so let's just slide it into place and see if we can get that hook in there. Okay, we're getting close here. That looks pretty good. Just pulling it down to line up with this hole in this alignment place. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now the cord. Okay, let's bolt it into place. Here's the last bolt. Okay. Now I need to turn on the key and align the bolt holes again so that I can put the window back. There it is. Okay, now we're ready for the window. Window rides in this slot, and on the other side it rides in this slot. Got the window 90 degrees off for ease of sliding it into place. Just getting it started in this forward slot, then lining up the back slot. Okay. Now it's in the slot. Okay, now I'm just lining up these bolt holes on the bottom, down here too. The bolts that hold the window in place are a little bit different than the other bolts. They have this kind of built up area. Goes through this slot. Now that I have both bolts in finger tight, I'm just going to snug them up a little bit. These are plastic here, so careful not to break anything. And while I'm doing this, I turned the key back off just for my safety. I don't want my hands in there. I don't want there to be any possibility that this thing's going to move while my hands are in there working on this. Okay, it's in place. Let's see if it works. Okay, works great. There. Okay, now I'm just putting this plastic noise barrier back in place. It's got some glue on the back of it. I'm going to try and work around this. This can come off if necessary, but I think I can slide the door panel under it and not have to remove this. If I have to, I'll take this off, put the door panel on, and then put it back. Next is the metal plate. Now the door panel, make sure all the fasteners are in place. I had to replace this one, it was broken. Make sure all the holes are clear, there are not any broken pieces or this plastic in the way. This metal hanger portion sits inside of this ledge and holds the door panel in place. I'm going to try and work around this plastic piece, which can come off if necessary. Pulling the wire for the master switch through the hole so it doesn't get lost behind the door panel. And I'm just making sure I get that metal piece behind the ledge. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to line up, look behind that door panel and line up one of the pins, the fasteners. Okay, by lining up one, that's going to line up all of them. Okay, now I just need to put on the screws, this special fastener over here, this piece, and reconnect the master switch. I found a screw similar to the one that was missing. So this goes in the notch at the top. There's a notch right there. You can see the hook that goes in this notch right here. I'm just going to feed the handle through, line up the hook, and snap these into place, and then put in the screw. I'm releasing the expansion part of this fastener by just pushing it out a little bit. Put it just right into place. Snap. Okay, that's it for that one. Now the master switch. This end goes first, and then this other clip snaps into place. That's it. Okay, let's give it one last test. I think it's finished. Works beautifully.